And welcome back to Pokemon Team Creation Series. Daniel F. Yeah, I'm back. Got the computer back. Long story short, there were some issues. I had to get taken to tech support. It was taken care of, and then the issue showed back up. But according to them, everything was fine. So I'm like, what's going on here? And then I figured out how to get rid of the issue I was dealing with. So yeah, I'll talk more about this a little bit more in like box office and who would win, but I will be playing some catch up for the next couple days to flesh out the rest of the week of who would win. The what if I was gonna do yesterday will actually be done on Saturday. Just that made sense to just start it then instead of starting it early, and so forth and so on. Anyway, this comes to us from Daniel F, who asked the question: what is the Pokemon team of Slender Man, the Slender Man Can? And Slenderman is a weird one. I mean, it's a fun one to do a team for, but it's a weird one too. Because, I mean, creepypasta and all that aside, like, the origin... like, creepypasta is very interesting in terms of, like, the fan-made world that it is. But because it's so... because of, like, the mythoses and everything like that, not everything is concrete in that world. And... what Slender Man is still up for a lot of debate. Like, even in the there's so many different origins you get. He's either an alien, or he's a spirit, or he's an interdimensional demon, or he is a being that was brought upon by like collective belief. So many people thought this thing existed that it brought him into existence. I've always liked that one. So doing it, and his personality is said to be very violent. It says like to cause psychosis or mess with people. He causes psychosis. Maybe he's just lonely and just kidnaps kids to be friends with them. So I thought a way to do this would be to look at A, what kind of things he's capable of doing, B, all the multiple origins and beliefs on what this character is and who this character is, and turn that into a team. So let's get started. I went first with the dimensional thing, like maybe he's an extra dimensional being of some kind. I'm like, okay, well, the Ultra Beasts stand out to me in that, and the one that looks the closest to Slender Man would be Xurkitree. Now, really, this is just an appearance thing, but when you look at Xurkitree and look at Slender Man, they're really not too dissimilar from each other. They're not a one-to-one, but look, the white fuzzy head that looks like Guzma, the white head on top of Slender Man, tentacles, these black thread arms and appendages, white hands. Now, Slender Man doesn't have really any electrical abilities that I'm aware of, but he is still, from a different dimensional plane, whatever, pocket dimension, if you will, in one of his origins. And Xurkitree, from an appearance standpoint, and the fact he's from a different dimension as well, made sense. Sticking with the Alola theme, another thing I wanted to add on is his manipulation of shadows. Slender Man is known to manipulate, hide, and control shadows, including have shadowy tentacles and all that. So I knew I wanted a Mon that could do that. And I actually stuck with about two different Mon for that. One is Marshadow. Marshadow is literally a Mon, a little ghost fighting type that hides in your shadow and mimics the fighting moves of whoever shadow they're hiding in, hence the martial artist ideology or motif. That's really, and it also is not the biggest fan of people, which Slender Man seems to kind of carry that trope with him. But yeah, that was really all I chose for that. I also went with another guy who hides in shadows, and that's really where I was kind of going with this one. It's Gengar. There he is, Gengar. Gengar, we know Gengar. We've seen Gengar hide in shadows. He's also a big prankster, likes to scare people out to death. This can go a little bit towards the whole idea of psychosis a little bit. We'll get more into that with the next one coming down the list. But this and the last mod I'll go to at the end of this list, Gengar and the last one, were the last two to be added because it kind of got the majority of what I was looking for with the team at that point, and now I was just trying to figure out add-ons. But I like Gengar. It also represents a bit more of the malice versus, say, Marshadow, who may not like people, but doesn't go out of its way to bother them. If it gets bothered, though, it will, be unhappy. But there's also the idea that Slender Man is kind of an artificially created individual. Now, and that really he's just seeking companionship. But unfortunately, he's so otherworldly that he causes insanity. So, believe it or not, it's not man-made. I do think it works in this case, and that is our good old friend Mimikyu. Now, Mimikyu is not an artificial mon, but it's a mon that hides its appearance in an artificial fake Pikachu like plushie. Furthermore, it's a mon that if you just wants to make friends, wants to be loved, but can't, and that's one of the theories about Slender Man, that he can't. He's just not capable of being loved. He can't be. He wants friendship, but it's hard for him, and he doesn't go about it the best way sometimes. But beyond that, if you look underneath Mimikyu and see its real form, it's said that it will kill you, or at the very minimum, drive you near death. Slender Man has been known to drive people insane. There is the famous story about the girls who killed a friend of theirs because Slender Man told them to do it. So while it's not quite insanity, I do think it is not a bad mon to represent it. Another one that can kind of represent that is Malamar. Now, this does represent the true Malice. Malamar is one of the few mon that is actually described as legitimately being an evil Pokemon, a mastermind evil Pokemon. And yeah, Malamar, I think it's dark, it controls minds. It could also possibly drive people insane with think words here, with its mind. So yeah, I think this works great to represent the tentacly evilness of Slender Man, if we're going by the pure evil ideology. Last but not least, we have the last mon on the team. And the last mon on the team, again, this was the last add-on to the team. I think this last one could easily be interchangeable. Honestly, I think Gengar could probably be interchangeable to with something else if someone could think of a better mon. But it's Hypno. And this is simply due to the idea of mind control and manipulating others. Again, like that story about the girls who said that Slender Man made them do it. And Hypno is not necessarily the best mon in the world either. Hypno's done some messed up stuff. At least theoretically, in lore. But yeah, ultimately, this is the list I would have for Slender Man's team. Not a terrible team, but it is significantly weak to dark types, as there are literally every one of these mon except for Xurkitree is weak to dark type mon. Granted, Mimikyu's ghost fairy type gives it a little bit, and Malamar's basically makes it go neutral. But the fact is, this team's pretty weak to dark types, and not very good against ghost types either. 4 out of the 4 out of the 5 of this team, 4 out of the 6 of this team is completely negged by Ghost because they're off. Ghost is weak to Dark and Ghost. So yeah. Now on the upside though, most of this team has like immunities. 4 of these guys alone have immunities to normal and fighting. Not to mention that Mimikyu has immunity to normal, fighting, and Dragon as a fairy type. And then Malamar's got immunity to psychic types. So there's definitely a lot of strength on this team, to be certain. It's not solely psychic, ghost, whatever. It's mostly psychic and ghost. But then you get Xurkitree as like the wild card, and would be the strongest one on the team, I would think, stat-wise. That or it's Marshadow, though I can't be 100% certain on that. Anyway, though, that is my thoughts on Slender Man's Pokemon team. But what would you do for a Pokemon team for Slender Man? Would you like this team? Would you do something different? Let me know in the comments below. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a good one.